we're here to ruin your ears and maybe some of your videos too, because this is Street Scene Power Hour. My name is Greg Roten, and we have co-hosts. What's your name, Rick?
Rick Guerrera. Rick Guerrera. Hey, the number 35, huh?
Is it 35? Larry Ward. We also have our co-host and special guests, Patti Joe Lambert, Bantam Jeep Festival. And we have Reece Mullins from BMW MOA president, correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right. And like I said, we're throwing the cars out today. I mean, I hate to tell you that, Rick. The cars are thrown out today. We're not doing it.
What about a Jeep? Jeep's a car.
I said, we're going to do.
I think Jeep's a vehicle.
Yeah, Jeep,
a car.
And Jeeps and motorcycles. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So we're going to start off with Reece Mullins. Introduce yourself, give just a little background and what's going on with you.
Yeah, hi. Everybody can hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Reece Mullins. I'm the president of the BMW MOA, the largest BMW club in the world. We're an independent club, been around since 1972. This year's rally will be our 50th anniversary rally. I've been riding since 2008. I joined the club shortly thereafter, and I got elected up to the board in 2016. Been on the board 6 years now. Got one more year to go, and I'm loving it. It's a good club, good community. I encourage everybody who rides any motorcycle. There's no requirement to own a BMW motorcycle or even a motorcycle to join the club. If you enjoy hanging around like-minded people that enjoy outdoors, dogs, the industry, motorcycles, Jeeps, bikes, overlanding community, classic bikes, or just a lot of people like to hang out, listen to music, and drink beer in a tent.
There we go.
Speaking of that, Reece didn't mention the cars, which we're not viewing today, but we also have, thanks Reece for introducing yourself. We're going to also have Patti Joe Lambert. She's with the Bantam Jeep Festival. Give us a little background on you and how you got involved in that.
Thanks for having me today. So I have been with the Bantam Jeep Heritage Festival since 2011 and actually started working on preparing for our first event 2 years before that. So really I kind of started in 2009, just planning this big, huge event that we ended up creating and launching in 2011. And last year we had our 10th anniversary. Kind of should have been done in 2020, but that didn't happen. But I've been had the pleasure of directing this event ever since the beginning, and I just work with a group of amazing volunteers. We have a great planning committee who meets year-round and plans and manages the event, and we have over 500 volunteers who help us make it possible.
Okay.
How'd you get involved, Patti?
Well, I have a public relations and event background, and at the time I was working with the Butler County Tourism and Convention Bureau and doing public relations for them. And the president of that bureau kept saying, Patti Joe, we have to do something to take advantage of Butler County's Jeep history. If you don't know that, Butler County, Pennsylvania is the birthplace of the Jeep. It was created in Butler in 1940. And so we kept talking about this over and over about, we had to do something to generate tourism in Butler County and take advantage of that Jeep history. And so the Bantam Jeep Heritage Festival was born, and I was tapped to kind of take the lead and figure out how to put this event together and direct the event. And I've been doing it ever since.
Mm-hmm. So you must know a lot about the Bantam Jeeps then. Can you give us a beginning, like how it happened, how it started and everything?
Sure. I'm definitely not a historian. We have lots of those, but the American Bantam Car Company was really the only company who responded to an RFP that was put out by the U.S. Army. They were looking to replace the horse. They needed an all-terrain vehicle, basically, that they could take anywhere. And so they gave essentially this RFP, and Bantam was really, the American Bantam Car Company in Butler was really the only one who decided to try to build a prototype to see if they could meet the Army's requirements. So the American Bantam Car Company actually was previously building small little cars, little roadsters, and they were small cars.
Yeah.
And that was what they really started out doing. And in 40 days, they put together the prototype. We still call it the Bantam Reconnaissance Car, the BRC. And they pulled it together. They pulled all-nighters. It's amazing to hear some of the stories of how they really did pull that off. They drove it to Camp Hollibird, which is outside of Baltimore. And really, it met all of the specifications that the Army was looking for. So it was really, I think, supposed to be Bantam's big break that was going to really put them on the map from being a small car manufacturer to something much, much bigger. The story doesn't end all that great for them, but, they put Butler on the map and they put the word Bantam on the map too. So it's a great little story, kind of like the little engine that could.
Well, yeah, but they didn't have the capacity to go big. I think that was the whole thing, right?
Well, there's a lot of controversy over that. That is the main public opinion, but actually that's not really what other historians believe. They believe that really there was a lot of politics going on in the background.
Surprise there. Politics and something.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there was definitely some backroom deals going on back then, and unfortunately for Bantam, their blueprints were handed off to Willys and Ford, and so they kind of got the short end of the deal. And I do think that capacity and production was part of their problem, but I think that they had, based upon what I know, that they definitely had capacity to build more Jeeps. Unfortunately, that opportunity was pretty much taken away from them.
But that didn't shut them down, though. They did something else, though, right?
You're right. Then they started to build the Bantam Trailers. So what happened was they built the original Bantam Reconnaissance Car, the prototype. Then they had a contract to build what they called the BRC 60. So the Bantam Reconnaissance Car 60. And there weren't many of those built. There is a couple of those still around in museums today, just a handful. And then after that, they built the Bantam BRC, the BRC 40. That's the one that they did in mass production. But whenever that was taken away, because pretty much the contract was given to Willys and Ford, then they built Bantam Trailers. So those were attached to the back of a Jeep, and those were to haul gear for the military, their ammunition, their weapons, their gear, all of that. So that was kind of their last hurrah. And in the 1950s, they went out of business.
All in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yep. There's no other place like, there shouldn't be another place in this country that has a festival like that except Butler, because that's where it all started for Jeep. And I'm going to have to tell you, I just want to jump in real quick. If you want to know all about the history of the Bantam Jeep, why don't you check out the Armstrong Street Scene episode, Cars Built in Butler, PA, because I have to toot our own horn, Rick. We won a national award with that one.
Tally Award winner.
So we beat out, I was looking, we beat out some place in Afghanistan or Argentina or something. So it's an international, because there's 7 continents that does, and all 50 states that put these submissions in. We submitted that. We got a bronze award, so we were one of the top 3. But anyway, if you want to check that out, go to YouTube. Armstrong Street Scene, Cars Built in Butler, PA. Check that show out, because that's one of Rick. That's probably your all-time favorite.
I loved it. Yeah, I keep watching it over and over again. So
if you want to, let's Patti, be on hold for a little bit. I want to get to Reece, because we got some questions. We'll get a couple questions in for him. So Larry Ward, our other host of Street Scene Power Hour, why don't you take it away with Reece?
Well, if you're going to introduce me, it's proper to always either say the younger, more energetic co-host or Corey Ward's dad.
Corey's dad.
Corey's dad. Yeah, that's it.
The energetic part. Well, yeah, I don't know. Whatever,
Not after that fall. I haven't been energetic for a couple of weeks, but better. So
yeah, good.
Larry,
I'll tell you what.
Larry fell on his bike and he was going. How fast were you going, Larry? He just tipped over.
You're standing there.
The loaded bike.
He's standing there trying to get his balance.
And I'll tell you what, my friend did something similar on a Triumph Trophy. And I'm telling you what, he was out of work for almost 4 months, broke his ankle, they had to put pins in it. I got very lucky, so I'm not complaining. I mean,
those things are heavy, and you had it loaded too.
Well, yeah, a little bit, yeah. I tell you what, when you get a little older,
A little bit.
yeah, you can't lift them up as easy. Even though you back into the bike and turn the handlebars and squeeze the brake and all that good stuff, it's still hard to lift them up. You got to take the crap off.
Falls in your leg with hot exhaust. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to take off the some of the gear off the bike. So, anyways, I'd like to welcome Reece Mullins, who's the BMW MOA, which is Motorcycle Owners of America, to the Armstrong Street Scene Power Hour. Reece, this is the first time I've got a chance to talk with you, and I've got some great questions lined up. And I want to let everybody know that the MOA, Motorcycle Owners of America, is an organization that began about 50 years ago with 5 guys getting together, wanted to stay in contact with each other. One of them happened to be Jeff Dean, who was a longtime past president, and they formed a club called the Motorcycle Owners of America. And the club is multifaceted. It not only has its own forum, it has its own podcast, it has its own foundation. And Clark Lester is a good friend of mine who helped begin the foundation. So I thought we'd start off with Reece. And by the way, my friend Roy Dykeman is an ambassador, and we were very proud when he won that award or was recognized for that award. But Reece, why don't you tell us a little bit about your involvement as the president, and then we'll transition into the membership and finally into Wander Farther, which is the upcoming rally that I'll be attending in Springfield, Missouri. Reece?
Yeah, looking forward to Springfield, Missouri. But if I could, can I deviate for just a moment?
No,
Patti,
gotta stop. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, Reece.
Well, Patty's story, just, I'm a longtime Army guy. Spent 22 years in the Army, and I still work for the Army as an instructor pilot. That's my day job. And
thanks for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Literally my pleasure. And when I tell you this story real quick, you'll understand just how much fun it can be. So at the end of the Jeep's service life, I was there. In 1992 at Fort Stewart, I was in Ranger Battalion and I was in Weapons Platoon. I was mortars, but we also had an anti-tank section. So we set up an anti-tank live fire ambush. And we had all these tanks from not tanks, but Jeeps and other vehicles, but mostly Jeeps from the DRMO that had finished their life cycle, and they were going to use them. Most of them didn't. Well, we thought all of them were not drivable, but a testament to the Jeep, one of them was drivable and had gas in it. And I discovered it out there on the range. Of course, Rangers were infantry, so we didn't have any Humvees or Jeeps or anything like that. So we're setting up this range, plywood, live fire. We're having a tractor that's, towing everything. We're about to blow all this stuff up. And I find this Jeep, and I am just like 4-wheeling it all over the range, humps, catching air. My commanders, I'm like the commander's driver all of a sudden. I was a training NCO, right? My last 9 months in Ranger Battalion, so it would have been 92. And I remember very distinctly my captain at that time looking at me and saying, Reece, now, when I get back here tomorrow for this live fire, there better be the same amount of Jeeps that there was today. If there's one short, you're getting court-martialed. But that was my
old military.
That was an awesome story.
Old military.
Yeah, it was
surplus Jeep.
Yeah, it wasn't a surplus Jeep. It was a military Jeep. They put some of them out on surplus, but these were just some that, rather than put the surplus, they had already designated as targets to be destroyed. And I found one that was drivable.
A lot of them they cut in half too. Have you heard that story?
All kinds of,
yeah.
Oh yeah. The military does all kinds of crazy stuff to really sexy equipment, and the Jeep was definitely one of them.
So in 92, that was a Ford Jeep, right? Weren't they all Fords back then?
It may have been, but in 92, I mean, this Jeep was like from the 40s or 50s, and it was still running.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Patti, what about? We're all talking about Jeeps, and then Patti.
Well, my first vehicle was a 1988 Suzuki Samurai. So Jeep.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't get. I didn't even get into riding until 2008 when I got out of the Army, and then immediately joined the club thereafter, and I've been a member of the club ever since.
So look, what's the chance of, do you fly Apache helicopters?
I fly the Lakota, which is a trainer here at Fort Rucker, and prior to that, the 58D, the Kiowa Warrior, which was a Little Bird gunship. We're not in the limelight. A lot of people don't know about the Kiowa Warrior. You can Google it. It's just a Bell product, Bell 406. To be specific, it could shoot Stingers, Hellfires, 50 cal rocket. We were armed reconnaissance is what we did in combat.
Is it like the Apache where you have a pilot and a navigator?
You have a pilot and a gunner. It's like the Apache in that aspect. Almost all Army helicopters, actually all Army helicopters have our two-station platform, pilot and co-pilot.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I look forward to meeting you out at the Wander Farther rally. So back to the BMW MOA Club. Let's first talk about what the club is, at least to you, or what you think it represents. And tell us a little bit about the value of the membership, because it's only $49 a year and you get a lot of value with it.
That's an excellent statement. When people ask me, why should I join the MOA, or either on social media or in person, I say, how much time do you got? Do you want the short list or the long list? The number one reason why anyone should join a fraternity type organization or a club, in my opinion, is the camaraderie ship. You know, the ability to communicate and to be around like-minded people that care about the same things that you care about. We have the Anonymous book, which is now the Anonymous book app, as an example, where members fill out their profile, put in codes like coffee and conversation, trailer, will travel, anything. We have several different codes. Has tools, camping space, tent space, a spare room, all this other stuff. The club has been doing that probably long before any other Airbnb type deal.
I don't
some
know.
of the other things that are out there.
Can you see the
got it right
app?
there on your phone.
Now, let me just talk just 1 second. When you talk about, because I've been unfortunate with my BMWs, I'm probably one of a handful of guys that have had on 2 different occasions over 3 years on 2 different BMW bikes, hall sensor failures. And both of them were in torrential downpours. And I was like laughing. It's like, don't tell me I can't ride the BMW in the
factory
rain.
planned that for you. That's what
I'll tell you what.
going to Larry Ward. Let's have a failure in a rainstorm.
Let me tell you what's good about the Anonymous book. This is a little magazine type, looks like the Reader's Digest, but it has every state, including international. And inside of it, it lists versus each state, like the city and stuff. So if you know where you're at or pretty close where you're at, you can open up that book and you can start calling. And I'm going to tell you, by the time you hit the 3rd phone number, somebody's going to have a trailer. Somebody's going to come and get you. Somebody's going to have a place for you to stay. I mean, it's the most wonderful thing. And I have, through the AMA, touring and towing insurance and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what, if you call, and I don't care what service you use, but they're not there in a half an hour. They're there in several hours. It's just the way the logistics are. But you call on that Anonymous book, which is a feature of the membership that only BMW MOA has, that allows you to get a hold of a like-minded individual that owns a BMW and is ready, willing, and able to come and get you, has a trailer, has the tools, has a place, and it's just been a very valuable asset to me. So I just wanted to make sure that I plug that part of the membership, because it's a true value.
Yes, exactly. And the app, when I got on the board, that was one of the things that I really wanted to get done. It filters all of that. It's based off of geo-referencing. So
Sure.
If you're near a city or something like that, it'll filter. You can filter it by codes. We get into some spirited conversations on social media. People are like, I don't need the app. I want the paper book. And I'm like, but you're going to need a phone, to make that phone call. They're like, well, what if I don't have service? And they're like, well, if you don't have service, the book ain't going to help you there. So, but I think we got most people on the app now and they're all using it. And the great thing about being on the board is I get to see how the club works. And I have never heard one single story And I've heard all of them basically of people who have reached out to somebody else on the anonymous book app. And I've never, ever once heard anybody say, yeah, I did that and no one answered, or someone answered and they wouldn't help me. That has never happened.
Never.
And I think it's a testament to our club and to the people that are in our club. They're truly the salt of the earth. Motorcycles, I think, is just the venue, the gateway drug for fellowship. But the people in the club are some of the finest, most wonderful human beings I've ever met on the face of the planet. And that's why I enjoy it so much. They'll do anything for you.
How many people in your club there, Reece?
We have 25,000 plus right now.
Oh,
It vacillates.
25,000? Wow.
Yeah.
This is what, international? Or just in the States?
We have international. No, we have international members. We have about 1,500 members or so in Canada. We have charter clubs in Italy. There is the International Council of Clubs through BMW Auto Group that runs all of this, and there's rules that we have to comply with, whether it's for international clubs and individuals. But yeah, anybody anywhere. We have a lot of South American, Latin American club members that come up for our rallies, vendors that are members that come up on a regular basis for our rallies.
Since you are the president, you speak all these different languages too, right?
You know,
There's one
not
universal
fluent.
language. Yeah.
not fluently.
Okay.
I have a lot of Puerto Rican instructor pilots at Fort Rucker where I work that are in the Army. And I had 3 years of Spanish. I was an interpreter in Operation Just Cause in Panama because of my Spanish background, but it's never been really all that well. And I've been training a lot of German instructor pilots also, many of whom ride motorcycles. So I incorporate them into the Army Motorcycle Mentorship Program as well. And one of the great things, one thing about the MOA right now is we're never satisfied with any amount of membership that we have. And we're always trying to get more. We have a member forces program that our executive director, Ted Moyer, put together a little over a year ago now. It's extremely successful. We've recruited well over 1,000 new members through the member forces program. And it's basically an introductory membership where the $49 membership is basically waived. You get the magazine, you get all access to the anonymous book app, all our digital products, all the discounts associated with hotels, events. The list just it's exhaustive, honestly. I can't memorize all of it. Yeah, I have German IPs now. And with that member forces and active duty guys, anybody who rides a motorcycle, and I have several that ride BMW motorcycles to work. But I just recruit them right into the MOA, and all of them are just totally stoked. They have no idea that an organization is that safety oriented and that safety conscious, that community oriented on motorcycles out there. There's a lot of motorcycle clubs out there, and through my motorcycle ministry, I've seen them in action. It's just not the same flavor, you know. If they're chocolate, we're vanilla, I guess. We ride motorcycles. We're really into the long distance riding community. Guys riding like super heavy rains. Their hall sensors go out occasionally.
Who's that? What happens there?
Yeah.
You call the anonymous.
Twice, Larry, twice, huh?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
in
we got
3
some-
years.
Yeah, we got some hardcore riders, some of the hardest. We got racers. We got Paul Phillips, one of our members up in Minnesota, I believe. He's at the Isle of Man TT right now, covering the Isle of Man TT because he's a professional photographer.
Oh yeah. I've gone
Where's
to
that-
seminars.
Where's that
I
at?
wanted to show. Oh, there it is. I don't know. Boy.
I had a hard time.
Maybe. Yeah. We're looking at it.
One of the things that you get besides, the membership includes a membership card and stuff like that. But there's a monthly magazine called the BMW Owners News. And it's a truly wonderful magazine. It touches on a lot of different topics, safety, rider awareness, trips, stuff like that. And also we have a thing called the Foundation, and that was something Clark Lester had brought to the board and approved many years ago. And if you'd like to talk about that briefly, Reece, the Foundation and what it does.
Oh, that's going to be a challenge because I'm a motor mouth and I'm passionate about certain things, and the Foundation is definitely one of them. The Foundation is separate from the MOA. right? They're two different entities altogether. They have their board. The president is Tom Gary. We have our board. What I like to say is motorcycle, and I wrote about it in the February Owners News in my president's column, but the BMW MOA is all about bringing enthusiasts together and connecting them, right? And providing them an environment where they can go out and enjoy the motorcycles that they're riding in whatever capacity that is, right? The foundation, and I talked about it with the pipeline, you know, I deal with Army Aviation, right? The foundation is that pipeline, just like what I do here at Fort Rucker. They create safe motorcyclists that will be around next year because they survived their crash or their tip over or whatever the case may be, and they're still on their motorcycle, right? As a helicopter instructor pilot for the Army, I'm a strong advocate of proper gear, safe riding attitude. And the foundation has several different scholarship opportunities. That's all funded through our raffles and through donations. The Safe Miles program, endowment program, which I'm a part of. They also use Amazon Smiles. BMW MOA Foundation is one of the, because it is a 501c3, unlike the BMW MOA. They are a true, in fact, charity, the charity wing of our organization or our community. And they raise a lot of money for that. And their mission is training. There's a historical aspect to it also. We're getting that up and running. They're in Greer, South Carolina at our headquarters. If you haven't been to our headquarters and you're an MOA member, encourage you to go. The staff is always there to help you out, show you the place. But back to the training. I've used the Paul B Scholarship a couple of times to pay for civilian training. It's any legitimate training. If you want to go do track day and it costs $1,000, you know, you get immediate $250 off of that once you turn in your rebate. They do group training. Clark Luster, in fact, we named the group training, or the foundation board recently named the group training program that they have, the Clark after Clark. I will be meeting with Clark Luster at the foundation dinner at Springfield this year. I'll be meeting him for the first time. I'm looking forward to that opportunity personally. But yeah, the foundation is excellent. When I recruit somebody, I usually do so by like placing my card on their tank. Some people don't like touching their bikes or whatever, but I'm very cognizant about that.
I ran into a few of those.
But anybody that complains, I'm like, hey, look, I'm putting three $100 bills on your tank right now. You know, $250 that can be applied towards training and a $49 membership. If you don't want me to put three $100 bills, no strings attached. And the problem with our culture today is I have a hard time convincing people just how good this offer is, just how good our organization is, because they just don't believe it. We all deal with institutions, organizations, and individuals on a regular basis in our culture. You know, we make phone calls, we get put on hold, we talk to customer service or the lack thereof when we go to stores and so forth. So we're all intimately familiar with how that normally works. When I work with our staff or our volunteers in the MOA, it is nothing like that. They will, myself included, right? When I'm dealing with a member, they will go to the ends of the earth to make sure that you are taken care of. And I mean, they will literally bring you into their house, feed you, clothe you, give you money, and then put you out the door. I've read several articles about people who have done that for other members.
Reece, we want to get back to Patti here real quick. But one quick question here for you, and we'll get back to you here later in the show. But website or how do people find out about this? Your organization?
That's a good question. BMWMOA.org is our website, honestly. Okay. And I tell members all the time, you need to go to the website. All of our benefits, how to sign up, register for events, renewals, everything is run through that website. And there's a lot on the drop-down menu because we got a lot of stuff going on, but you can find what you need there. But that's a good question. Yeah. BMWMOA.org, go to the website, register to become a member. You got our forums, our Facebook page, all of that will get you there.
Okay.
Any Google search usually brings you to our webpage.
Okay.
And if I can jump in real quick, we're going to jump over to our other guest. And when I come back to you, Reece, we're going to talk about Wander Further and the upcoming rally in Springfield, Missouri. Okay?
Excellent.
Okay.
All right.
Hang around, Reece, because, we're talking about, and this goes for motorcycles, this goes for anything, Jeeps, any kind of car culture. And I got to tell this quick story because, we talk about this at Street Scene, but Rick, and I don't think we've talked about this on the Street Scene Power Hour. When I'm a Volkswagen, well, I like everything, and I've got Fords, I've got Chevys, and I've got 2 Volkswagen Bugs. And I convinced Rick one year. I said, we've got to go down to the German
Jubilee. Was it
German Jubilee down at
Yeah.
Here's Rick digging his feet into the ground going, I don't want to go to this. I don't want to go to this. Now, what did you think of it after you went?
Oh, I had a fun time. It was a heck of a good time. Yeah.
So it was a different culture. So,
Sure.
the Bug guys are, we've got, and Patti, I can't wrap my head around this, is when I was looking on your website, the first year of the Jeep, the festival, you had how many Jeeps in 2011?
1,300 Jeeps who registered to participate in the
The
event.
first year. How is that possible?
Well, you know what happened, and this was, I think, the brainchild. It was a great idea, and I certainly won't take credit for it. But we decided to kick off our very first event by having a Guinness World Record Jeep parade. And I don't think any of us really thought that it was going to be as big as it was. But we had 1,106 Jeeps in that parade, and we did set the Guinness World Record
How long
back in
was the
2011.
parade? How long was that
I
parade?
think it was, well, wait till I tell you about the parade we did in 2015. But the 2011 parade was probably, I think 4 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Something like that. It was a lot of Jeeps.
Now, if you think hold on, just saying, I'm going to say, if you're listening to this or watching this, sit back in your seat for a minute, because how many Jeeps did you have the last time you had the festival? Because of COVID, we don't want to consider what happened with COVID, but the last festival, sit down, because how many Jeeps did you have?
And when I give you these numbers, these are the Jeeps who actually register to participate. These are not the Jeeps in the parking lot or people who are just coming to check out the show. We had over 2,800 Jeeps registered last year.
I don't know where you put them all.
Well, we have a big venue that we use, and they are spread out. But it's so funny because people say to me, "I can't believe you work on this event year round," and I'm like, "Well, think about it. Think of a giant event, but put cars and vehicles in it that are moving and they're going places. They're not just coming and parking, and then you have thousands of people. We have thousands of people and thousands of Jeeps, and that creates lots of challenges, but it's a lot of fun. And our whole idea is for people to come and much like Reece talked about, motorcycle owners, Jeep owners are very much part of that they have that family, they have that group, they love to be around other Jeep owners and talk about their Jeeps. So we've had people describe our event as Jeep heaven, and I think they're absolutely right.
Heck yeah, all those Jeeps.
It's really, if you like Jeeps, actually I tell people who maybe don't have a Jeep and they come to our event, I'm like, I'm just going to tell you, by the time you leave, you're going to want one.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous territory.
I gotta, real quick, I want to get this out because we purposely timed this show, this podcast. There's a reason why. Give us the dates of the next festival.
Well, it's coming up fast and furious. Our next event is June 10th through 12th. So less than 2 weeks away. We'll have our 11th year.
And where's it at?
We hold the event at Cooper's Lake Campground, which is just south of Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania, right off of Route 422. So, kind of goes right across the middle of the state. And so we're easy access, Interstate 79 and Route 422. We're right there at that intersection.
Will there be a lot going on Sunday? Because I think that might be a day that I can get out there. But like most events, things are kind of slowing down by then. So, well, maybe you could tell us a little bit about all 3 days and what's going on, if you could. But
now, wait a minute, Larry, I got to jump into you. There's slow days like 1,500 Jeeps. Yeah. That's a slow day for them. So, you know, well, Sunday's wrapping up. We only have 1,500 Jeeps, right?
Well, no, but sometimes with the events and maybe you have seminars, maybe you have things like that, and they might, or vendors, and they might be packing up by Sunday midday or something.
Yeah, well, we start every day. We're a 3-day event. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 10th through the 12th of June. We start every day at 9:00, and we have activities going on. Many activities happen all 3 days. We have a lot of different trail rides that we have that are off-road, and our participants can go on trail rides there at Cooper's Lake Campground. And we also have property, 235 acres, where we have additional trails that are about 3 miles away. So we do that. We also have an off-road trail ride in our state park, Moraine State Park. It's the 3rd largest state park in Pennsylvania. So we do have a ride there this year as well. So in addition to and we also have a Jeep playground. So it's an obstacle course. We have a mud pit. So if you like to watch Jeeps go through the mud and get stuck and need pulled out and cheer them on to try to get through that. We have that as well as a bunch of other obstacles.
What do you have for the kids? Anything for the kids?
We have, I'll tell you, the kids just love to see all the different Jeeps and to watch them in the Jeep playground. This year we have a special little activity we're doing for them, though. We're calling it Jeep Kids Rock. So we have painted rocks that are all Jeep themed that we're hiding throughout the venue, and we're asking kids to find them. And when they do, they get a little prize that they can, and it's a Jeep prize that they can get if they find our rock. So that's something fun that we're doing for the little ones this year.
Oh, good. It's nice to get them involved, young age, Sure.
Patti, give us a website real quick. I want to get this in here also before I forget, which is
sure. Our website is bantamjeepfestival.com. We just finished our registration, our pre-registration, and then last night we just ended our will call registration. So we do have on-site registration.
Nice.
So if somebody does want to bring their Jeep and participate in activities, you can still do that. The registration tent opens at 8 each morning. But the signature part of our event is what we call the Jeep Invasion. And that's where we head to downtown Butler, where the Jeep was born. We head there Friday evening, and we park 1,000 Jeeps on Main Street. And we have like the biggest street party ever. So we have DJs, we have food vendors, and really it's just all the Jeeps are parked on the streets. And we typically have close to 15,000 people who come out for the evening and just walk around because they just want to see all the Jeeps. It's really fun.
Was that Saturday night?
That is Friday night. It's free to attend, just to come downtown and check everything out. That event is sold out at 1,000 Jeeps. But it's a really fun thing that, people from all over the country, they talk about our Jeep invasion. And it's just, it's small town America. Yeah. And it's just awesome that the city welcomes all of the Jeepers and loves to have the Jeepers. And it's just really a great sight to see. So that's a fun thing for Friday night. And then Saturday, some other things. We have almost 150 vendors who come from all over the United States. So any Jeep part or accessory that you think you need or that you never dreamed existed, you will find that at Bantam. So that's there.
Yep. So, in other words, you come down there, make sure you take your life savings and your 401k out, pay the fees and go buy Jeep parts while you're there.
Yes.
They do say that Jeep stands for just empty every pocket. So,
Stop just for a minute. I have to say, go to their website. You've got to look. I was laughing. I was crying because people thought I was insane here, which is normal. But they turned the beer, the one, you have a sponsor.
Oh, yes.
They turned the logo, Jeep logo, upside down and the P backwards. So it says beer. So turn your Jeep logo upside down and turn the P backwards and it spells beer. And I was dying. I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah. Who thought of that one, huh? Hey, Patty Joe, what if I have a Ford Bronco or a Chevy Blazer or a Range Rover? Can I join
you
in?
suck.
or-
I feel really bad for you if that's what you drive.
I just want to know if we were allowed involved too.
You can park in the parking lot, Rick, but we won't let you participate in the event.
Okay.
Not even a Land Cruiser? An old
A
one?
Land Cruiser? Woo.
The Jeep only event.
There you go.
It's only a Jeep. Okay.
Now, it's just Jeep Wranglers, Jeep CJs, Jeep TJs.
It's Jeep everything.
Liberty,
You'll see Liberties, Cherokees, Renegades. You'll see them all at Bantam.
Okay, I want to get that clear.
And we have activities that any Jeep can do, whether it's a stock Jeep, like a stock Renegade right off the lot, to, a completely modified TJ. Any Jeep is welcome, and we have activities that any Jeep owner can do with their Jeep while they're at Bantam.
Maybe I'll let my wife won't let me take the TJ off road. But maybe we have a Liberty also that we bought, so maybe she'll let me take that one. So,
and we have things that aren't off road that you could also do. So no, we don't leave anyone behind.
Let me ask the courses. I'm sure you've got some light courses and the heavier courses, the off road, the trails, and that. Is that true?
Yes. And Jeep trails are much like ski resorts or ski slopes. You have green for beginner, blue for intermediate, and black for extreme. Okay. So all of our trails, the ones that on site at Cooper's Lake, and also the ones at the Bantam property 3 miles away, they all have those 3 levels of trails. So anybody can do any of those trails and have a great time.
How big of a campground are you looking at here, Patty Joe?
Cooper's Lake typically sells out around 2,000 people in their actual camping area. I think the campground is about 6,000 acres. So we pretty much use about half of that for the festival, and the other half is the campground. So that's that's great. People who own Jeeps, and many times they love the great outdoors. They like to camp. So there's lots of camping there, and it's just a great environment. I mean, that it's Jeep Festival time in Butler County because there's Jeeps everywhere.
Everywhere. All right. What kind of Jeep do you have?
I have a 2020 Wrangler. Ooh, and that was my COVID purchase. It's a 4-door.
Okay.
And I have the Bikini Pearl color. It's a turquoise color, and it's a limited edition.
That's a pretty color, yeah.
It's a great color. I get so many compliments on that color. And it was only produced in 2019 and part of 2020. So I got very lucky. It really just fell in my lap.
That's a girly color. I wouldn't want it.
Well,
Rick, it's a cool color. I love it.
My husband still drives it. I mean, I do like the new one. There's
Rick,
a Tuscadero pink. That's an awesome color.
Uh-huh.
And I told him, I'm like, boy, maybe I should trade my Bikini Pearl in and get this pink one. And he's like, no. I'm not driving that one.
I've got 2 questions. Actually, one question is for Patty Joe first, and then Reece gets actually a chance. I'm going to throw a zinger, but Reece gets a chance to figure it out here. Patty, one Jeep that came to the one event, I don't care what year it is, that stands out in your mind. What is that one? And Reece, that's coming up for you as far as BMW.
Well, there's 2. I'm going to tell you 2.
All right.
I can't pick one. The first one is the Bantam Reconnaissance Car Pilot. There was a gentleman in Texas who rebuilt using all the exact plans that the American Bantam Car Company had. So it's an exact replica of that car, that very first Jeep. And so it came to Bantam in 2015. It participated in our 2nd world record parade. And, that Jeep was really special because you knew that's really what created the entire Jeep
started
brand.
The whole thing, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that was really cool. And then also in 2015, 2015 stands out. At the time we had Jeep Corporate brought some of their underground Jeeps, their concept Jeeps. And I had the chance to drive one of them. And I took it on a blue trail, and I was petrified that I was going to sideswipe a tree or do something. And it had a Hemi engine in it. It was,
Oh, jeez.
it was pretty amazing. And, I kept saying, I can't do this. I can't, what if I scratch it? What if I do something? And they're like, it's okay. We'll just go fix it.
Yeah,
But,
it's corporate. They fix it for nothing.
yeah.
So,
So luckily I didn't do any damage to it, but that was a pretty sweet opportunity that most people don't ever get to have.
That Hemi's a little bit more power than the 4-liter or the 2.5.
yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit, or the old 30. Now the old 304. I can get into that. The old 304. When AMC built the Jeeps. So Reece, you've had 30 seconds to think about it. So there's got to be one of those bikes that stands out to you that you've seen.
It's hard to narrow it down, but I always kind of gravitate like the Jeeps, right? I always kind of gravitate to the war models, the original ones.
Yes.
We have quite a few perfectly restored German Wehrmacht, tan colored for the Northern campaign, North Africa campaign that often show up. I was just with Bob from Bob's BMW up in Jessup, Maryland last week, and he showed me in his personal museum one that he had. John Harker here in Alabama, he has one, the sidecar rig with the Zundap or the BMW. I forget the models that they were. R23 is the original model that came out in 1923. I can't, I want to say R60, but I can't, I get lost in all the designations. I just call them the World War II sidecar machine gun rigs. And that works out for me, but it's a cornucopia, right? It's visually overwhelming when you show up. We have about 5,000 to 6,000. We have as many as 10,000 people at some of our rallies, registered rallies, and they're all on bikes. Usually we've been going around 5,000 or 6,000 participants every year now. And you don't know how many bikes that is until you see them all, kind of like with the Jeep parade. Whenever they're all together, you're like, wow. And you see all the different types of bikes, everything from all the way back to 1923 to my bike here behind me is a 2022. I recently had to purchase as a result of a deer strike back in April 4th, where my 2016 got totaled.
Ouch.
But
Lucky you didn't get totaled on that one.
Yeah.
It would have been an ouch. I got some bruises and cuts, but at 50 miles per hour, all that gear worked. The helmet, the airbag vest, which I use.
That's what it's all about.
Here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My friend just bought an airbag vest, so I'm hoping he doesn't get a chance to use it. But if we've got a few minutes yet, Reece, let's talk about Wandering Further, the upcoming BMW MOA National Rally that will be held in Springfield, Missouri. Let's talk about that for just a few minutes.
Sure, real quick. It's our national rally. We do it every year. I think it's the third week in June. It's 2 weeks from now.
Right.
I always get the dates a little mixed up because for myself and Rhonda, who runs the Sweet Information booth, my wife, also a volunteer, we're there for a whole week. But it's usually the main days are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I'm talking on my phone, so I can't access my calendar right off the top of my head. But it's that third weekend. It's at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds in Springfield, Missouri. We do one every year around this time. Next year's will be in Virginia, and that's also in June. But we do West Coast, Central, and then East Coast. This is our this is our Central. This is our Central rally. Our rally chairs are Greg Feeler, Pat Carroll, and Brian Burdett. Brian Burdett's the rally chair, and those are our two co-chairs. They were our chair and co-chairs for the Salt Lake City rally we had several years ago. So very experienced rally chairs. They've been working on it all year long. We have several hundred vendors that are showing up, like Patti Joe said, that can sell you everything that you can put on a motorcycle, a BMW motorcycle, or stuff you didn't even know you needed.
401ks are welcome, retirement plans, anything you can clean out to go get those parts.
Lots of money is spent.
Hey, Reece, Reece, one quick question before we get done
go
here.
ahead, Rick.
You spent, 22 years in the Army? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Is the Army still using bikes, motorcycles?
Yes, yes. And the long range reconnaissance special operations capacity. So LRPs, We have several MOA members that actually rode motorcycles in the Army. I would have, except I was an 11 Charlie instead of 11 Bravo. But Charles Buchanan, he's one of our RCs.
Are they street bikes? Or are they dirt bikes?
No. They're they were diesel powered, like a KLR X 650, but I think they're a Honda. They're diesel powered and highly silenced. So in range of
diesel
time,
powered bike.
That's right.
Nice.
I never heard of a diesel powered bike.
Yeah, they're manufactured specifically for the military. Special Forces uses them. My cousin was Special Forces group. Him and I spent a lot of time on deployments with what we call a two-way range, where people shoot both ways. But yeah, they use a lot of that. That's a good question. They're silenced. And I remember very specifically doing an airfield seizure and Ranger Battalion back in the 80s. And they're mostly used for courier operations to get from one end of the airfield to another, and for throwing someone on the back and getting people around and transporting information when comms breaks down, that sort of thing, and conducting reconnaissance on the airfield. But it was dark. I could see a guy with goggle PVS-7s back then, so the little green light over his eyes. He had his gear on. The bike was totally blacked out. I could just see the silhouette along the airfield against the tarmac. And all I could hear was, it was so quiet, all I could hear was the slap of the chain. That's how quiet it was.
Wow.
What kind of bikes are we talking? Harleys or Indians?
Honda. I think Honda made those, but there are any variety of bikes. Whoever has the contract at the time, it changes. They're even looking at electric bikes, from what I understand right now.
Can't get much quieter than that. Yeah.
I have a question regarding military service and the different units and that, if you don't mind. What is the difference in, I guess, the, I don't know what they call it, the MOA or the MOS or something. What's the difference between a Ranger and a Green Beret then, and what they're required to do or tasked to do?
Sure. Multifaceted today. So I joined Ranger Battalion in 1988 as a private. Special Forces is kind of the graduate level. Delta Force, which you guys see in the movies and stuff, they're actually SFODD, Special Forces Operational Detachment D. So they're also technically Green Berets. Shugart and Gordon from Black Hawk Down, if you guys seen the movie, the guys who landed and saved Michael Durant, who just ironically was running for Congress here in the state of Alabama just in the last week or two. But those guys, the primary job of other the Special Forces Operational Detachment, Delta, your A teams and the battalions, whatever group they're in, their primary goal is to go and facilitate ongoing operations or training, to train the trainer, right? Or to train the indigenous forces. It's not in the news, and I am not privy to any of this information, but I would be so surprised I'd be willing to, put a month's paycheck on it, that there's not 10th group guys right now over in Europe training all these Ukrainian farmers how to use these really exotic weapons, right? Like javelins and so forth. It's not like you're, driving a tractor one day and the next day you just wake up and magically know how to use all this exotic weaponry. So
I slipped a few over there. That's
so I'm sure that's happening. But Ranger Battalion is more of a. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Reece.
Yep.
Well, the difference is those are your senior NCOs, those guys that do that. They also do direct action stuff. There's a picture of like I said, my cousin was 5th group, Steve Blue. There's a picture of him that I have on my phone that a Reuters photographer took during the Thunder runs. And like you could tell from the reason why Reuters was there and taking the picture is all hell was breaking loose. There's IV bags everywhere, guys on stretchers, guys with 1,000-yard stares, little young privates with 20 years old. And there's this former Iraqi army guy, right? Because they all just took their clothes off, their uniforms off in the desert and just left it, right? He's got a shirt on, but he's got a shirt on, but no pants, right? He's got no pants on, right? And he's like squatting down. And they're behind I think they're behind a Bradley, right? Yeah. They're squatting down. And my cousin is just like totally calm. He's got an M4. He was an 18 Echo. So your A teams have the different specialties. Just like, back in the 1980s with the 18 TV show. He was an 18 Echo commo guy. course, they do all the cross training, that sort of thing. And he's just taking charge of the situation on the Thunder runs, doing actual, engaging with the enemy and working with indigenous, or not indigenous forces in this case, military conventional forces. And as a 58D pilot, as an aviator, I work with various levels of special operations, even as a conventional Army aviator. Range of battalion, to answer your question specifically, is specifically direct strike. They do direct action against the enemy. They're unique in that they're not like tier 1, like Delta Force or SEAL Team. Like I said, I joined when I was a private. So you have everyone from private all the way to lieutenant colonel in a range of battalion with 3 different companies. And their MTO may have changed. With different MOSs, combat arms MOSs. It's changed a lot since I was in Ranger Battalion back in the 80s. I'm not even sure what all they do, but they're more direct action. Where they also perform, when we worked with, I got to be careful on what I can say and what I can't say.
Yeah, we don't want to lose information here.
Yeah, during Desert Storm, we were working with tier 1 assets like you see on all the Hollywood movies, and Ranger Battalion's primary role at that time was supporting them. If you watch Black Hawk Down with Mogadishu, it was very similar. You had Delta Force operators like going in on fast roping, and the Ranger Battalion was setting up cordons, and they were kind of security, and they were in direct support of the operators who were going in performing the special operations mission. So.
Yep.
What was your rank when you retired?
I was a CW4 when I retired. I was an E5 or sergeant when I left Ranger.
Sergeant. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks again for your service.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Literally my pleasure.
We got a couple minutes left. I just had one quick question, Reece. I have a friend that was also in Desert Storm, and he was the first tank over the line when they were told and I'm like,
24th Infantry Division?
Yes, he was. And I just wanted to say that because thank you for your service, and give us some information on how you can find out about your organization and that. Give us the website, give us some information how people can contact you.
Yeah, I will. The reason I said 24th Infantry Division, my brother was there too. So during Desert Storm, I was there, my brother was there, and my 2 cousins were there. My mom and my aunt got gray hair in 1991.
Yeah, sure. Especially if we watched it on TV, huh?
It was interesting, to say the least. Why don't I segue into one other thing? One of our, real quick, because we're talking about military, one of the things, this is just an example of what the MOA does. We have a member, Mike Bobbitt, who's a former Air Force retired person, because we know that motorcycle riding is very cathartic and therapeutic to the troubled soul, which is the reason why I ride motorcycles when I got out of the Army, something I had never done before. Motorcycle Relief Project is another 501c3 that an additional MOA member created. It's thriving. It's helping vets and first responders out with PTSD quite a bit, and they do that out in Colorado. There's links to that on our website as well. All these different organizations or members that are doing great, wonderful things in the vets. Again, the website for the BMW Motorcycle Owners of America is bmwmoa.org. And if you go to that website, it'll have our contact information, our phone numbers, email address. It's got my phone number on it. I'm the president. I put my number and email address out there so everybody can contact me. And like a good military leader, if I don't know the answer, I'll get the answer. And if I can't help you, I will direct you towards the person who can help. My number is 334-470-7770, +1 if you're dialing internationally. So I'm available 24/7 to every MOA member and every potential MOA member. And a lot of our ambassadors and volunteers are the exact same way.
The Wandering Further Rally is June the 16th through the 19th. So that's a Thursday through Sunday. Reece, I will look you up when I get there, shake your hand, talk to you for a few minutes. And again, can thank you on short notice for stopping by and being part of our Street Scene Power Hour show.
Absolutely. It was literally my pleasure.
Thanks, Reece. Very interesting.
We've given you 2 events that you can come to. Patti, Joe, it's coming up quick. When's the next festival?
June 10th through 12th. It's always the second weekend in June. And we also have a fall event that's the second weekend in October. So if you miss the one in June, you can always come to a much smaller, more trail focused event in October.
And for Street Scene Power Hour, Rick Herrera, Larry Ward, I'm Craig Roten.
We'll see you
Down
down the road.